Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a branded Voiceless voice deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck is one of the most powerful decks to play this format. And the branded engine in this deck is absolutely insane. I'm super excited to show you guys this list, so without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name skipped in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Skull Guardian, Protector of the Voiceless Voice. This card is an amazing 2 of in the deck because it's a searcher, it's a negate, it does everything, and it's absolutely huge when you have your copy of Low on your side of the field. And it's a really cool ability. You can ritual summon this card with Prayers of the Voiceless Voice, but there's a bunch of different ways you can actually summon this card out to your side of the field in this build. It gains 2,050 attack points while you have a copy of Low on your side of the field or in your graveyard, boosting this card up to 4,100 attack points, which is insane. This card also has a really cool ability that if this card is ritual summoned, you get to add a Voiceless Voice monster or a ritual monster that's a warrior or dragon from your deck to your hand. And when your opponent activates a card or effect while you control a copy of Low, quick effect, you can actually negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card, which is a great effect to be able to summon out this awesome boss monster. We then play 2 copies of Saravis. Saravis is a great 2 of in the deck. It's very easy to summon this card out with its human form, and it's just a really good boss monster to be able to play in the deck that's also a hand trap. We then play 3 copies of Low, the Prayers of the Voiceless Voice. This card is basically the entire deck. It has a really cool ability if you ritual summon exactly 1 light ritual monster that's a warrior or dragon with a card effect that requires you to tribute monsters to use for that ritual summon. You can use this card as the entire tribute, which is a really cool ability to be able to instantly summon out your copy of Skull Guardian by just tributing out this card for the ritual summon. This card also has the ability, if this card is normal or special summon, you can place a Voiceless Voice continuous spell or trap from your deck face up in your spell and trap card zone. And if a light ritual monster that's a warrior dragon is special summoned to your field while this card is in the graveyard, you can actually special summon this card back to your side of the field, which is a great ability to instantly get this card back on your side of the field once you ritual summon out your copy of Skull Guardian. We then play 3 copies of Saphira, Dragon Queen of the Voiceless Voice. This card is definitely a 3 of in the build, and it's just a cool card to search off your copy of Barrier because it's going to help you summon off your copy of Skull Guardian. You can discard this card to send a ritual spell from your deck to the graveyard, then you can add a light ritual monster that's a warrior dragon from your deck or your graveyard to your hand. You can also banish this card from the graveyard to ritual summon a light ritual monster that's a warrior or a dragon from your hand, which is an insane ability. This card is also kind of like a ritual spell, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of Saravis. Saravis Dragon Sage is just a good 1 of in the deck, but it's really good because it can actually tag itself out for your copy of your Saravis ritual monster, which is an insane effect, and it's super easy to put on your side of the field, as you can special summon this card from your hand by shuffling 2 spell cards from your hand and or graveyard into the deck, including a ritual spell, which is an insane ability to instantly get this card out on your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Diviner of the Herald. Diviner of the Herald is also a great starter for the deck because this card has the ability, if it's normal or special summon, you can send a fairy monster from your deck or extract to the graveyard, and if you do, increase this card's level by the level until the end of the turn, which is great to be able to boost this card to level, but being able to send your copy of your Trias from your deck to the graveyard, and then basically tribute this card for Trias, which is insane to be able to do because if this card is tributed, you get to special summon a level 2 or lower fairy monster from your hand or deck to your side of the field, letting you summon your copy of Low directly from your deck to your side of the field so you can go full combo. Your copy of your Diviner is just really good in this deck overall. We then play a single copy of Trias. Trias is just a good 1 of in the deck to have as an option to be able to send to the graveyard off your copy of Branded Fusion with your copy of Fallen of Albaz, or to be able to send to the graveyard off of Diviner, depending on what you open for your hand. But Trias is really good because during the main phase, if this card's in the hand or grave, quick effect, you contribute up to 3 fairy monsters to special summon this card to your side of the field, meaning you can normal summon out Diviner, send it to the graveyard, and then tribute Diviner to be able to summon off your copy of your Low, getting Low and Trias on the field at the exact same time. We then play just a single copy of Fallen of Albaz. Usually you're just going to resolve Brand of Fusion once, which is why we play one copy of Fallen of Albaz, plus you're already playing Trias, which is a little bit of a brick in the deck, so I feel like one copy of Fallen of Albaz is really all you need from playtesting. It's a really good card in the deck because it's basically walking Super Poly, but it is a little bit of a brick if you do draw into it. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is definitely a 3-of just to stop your opponent from touching the deck. And then we play 3 copies of Nibiru. Nibiru is great at breaking your opponent's board, but this card is also a level 11 monster, meaning we can use it to ritual summon out monsters by tributing this card for the ritual cost, which is great to be able to do. So even if you open up a copy of Nibiru and you're going first, you can always use Nibiru in this deck, which is why I love playing this card as a 3-of in the build. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, guys, we're going to start with a single copy of Blessing of the Voiceless Voice. Blessing of the Voiceless Voice is definitely a 1-of in the deck and is actually a new card that we just got out of Legacy of Destruction. This card has the ability to let you target one of your Voiceless Voice cards that's banished or in the graveyard and add it to your hand. And if a non-ritual monster is normal or special summoned face up, except during the damage step, you can actually ritual summon one of your light ritual monsters that's a warrior or a dragon from your hand by tributing monsters from your hand or field whose total level equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster you're attempting to ritual summon. And if you do, it cannot be destroyed by battle, which is an insane ability to summon out your copy of your Skull Guardian to your side of the field, and then on top of it, it not be able to be destroyed by battle. We then play 2 copies of Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is really good as a 2-of in the deck to basically just help you dig into the deck, but the deck is already so consistent, you really only need 2 copies of this card because you don't need everything in the extract, but it's still really good to be able to use this card. We then play 2 copies of Prayers of the Voiceless Voice. Prayers is really good as a 2-of in the deck to be able to use to ritual summon out our cards, but usually you're just using this card with your copy of Saphira to help you summon out your copy of your Skull Guardian, but it's really good in the deck as a 2-of in the build. We then play 3 copies of Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion is definitely a 3-of in the deck because this card helps you with so many different plays and just helps out in the deck to help you get a copy of Mirror Jade out on your side of the field, while also getting cards in the graveyard, basically being like a Foolish Burial for the deck. It's really good in the build as a 3-of and just helps out so much in this build. We then play 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites. Pre-Prep is really good as a 3-of in the build because this card has an insane effect that lets you add a ritual spell and a ritual monster from your deck to your hand, which is really good to be able to do to instantly get your copy of Prayers and Skull Guardian directly from your deck to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Barrier of the Voiceless Voice. Barrier is definitely a 3-of in the build, and the card you're usually placing on your side of the field with your copy of Low. This card has the ability that while you control a copy of Low and a light ritual monster, your opponent's monsters can only target light rituals for attacks. Also, your opponent cannot target light monsters you control with card effects, which is such a cool ability to be able to use this card. It also has the ability during your main phase, you can actually add a Voiceless Voice card or a Skull Guardian ritual monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, which is an insane effect to be able to instantly get to the exact card that you need, like a copy of Saphira. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Radiance of the Voiceless Voice. Radiance is really good as a 1-of in the build because it's just an insane card to be able to put on your side of the field. Because during the main phase, you can activate one of these effects to shuffle a light ritual monster that's a warrior or a dragon, or a ritual spell from your hand or graveyard into the deck. And if you do, add to your hand or special summon a Voiceless Voice monster from your deck. Or it has the ability to target cards your opponent controls up to the number of light ritual monsters that are warrior and or dragons you control, and destroy both this card and as many of the targeted cards as possible, which is an insane ability just to help you pop cards on the field. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is insane just to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade is just a great one-of in the deck because usually you're just summoning out this card at one time because we are playing Fallen of Albaz just as a one-of in the deck, but it's really good to be able to summon out in this build, which is why I just play a single copy in the deck, but it's really good to spot remove cards off the field. We then play a single copy of Lubellion. Lubellion's just a good option to be able to play in the deck to help you summon out another monster to your side of the field, and it's awesome to be able to use this card to shuffle the materials back into the deck to summon out a fusion monster. We then play 2 copies of Albion. This card is basically walking Miracle Fusion to help you summon out your copy of Mirror Jade, but you play 2 in the deck, 1 to summon and 1 to send off of Mirror Jade's ability, which is just really good to be able to do. We then play a single copy of Elder Entity Nist. Elder Entity Nist is great as a one-up to be able to send off your copy of Diviner so you can pop a card on the field. We then play a single copy of Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is a must one-of in the deck and just really insane to be able to summon out to your side of the field. So you don't even have to use a tuner to be able to summon out this card. You can just use light monsters and or dark monsters to be able to make this card, and it banishes a card on the field when it's summoned out, which is really cool. And if you use light monsters, then synchro monsters you control are unaffected by monsters' activated effects of your opponent, which is a really good ability. We then play a single copy of Herald of the Arclight. If this card does touch the graveyard, off your copy of Diviner's effect, it'll let you search a ritual monster or a ritual spell, which is a really cool effect. We then play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon is really good because it's very easy to make in just about any deck, and it's overall just a fantastic card to be able to make as an option in this build. We then play a single copy of Underworld Goddess. Underworld Goddess is great because it's basically like a kaiju that we get to keep, plus it's summonable off your copy of IP, which is really good to be able to do. We then play a single copy of Dynamundo. Dynamundo is just a good option in the deck. It's kind of like a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, which is really cool about this card. If this card is special summon, you can target one card in the field and a ritual monster in the graveyard, shuffle that card both into the deck, and also during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can trigger this card and then target a ritual monster in the grave and either add it to your hand or special summon it to your side of the field. We then play a single copy of the Dark Charmer and a single copy of the Light Charmer. These cards are just good options to be able to make in the deck. We then play a single copy of SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight is just a great option to be able to make in the build. This card is really good because it's basically a double interruption. If you don't have this card, you can change it out for like a Nightmare Unicorn for a more budget option, but if you have it, definitely play a Little Knight. We then play a single copy of IP Masquerena to be able to make SP Little Knight or a copy of Underworld Goddess during the opponent's turn, which is really good. And then finally, since we don't have Linkuriboh anymore, we're playing a single copy of Relinquished Anima to be able to gobble up monsters. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have not played branded Voiceless Voice before, definitely give this deck a try. It's actually one of my favorite ritual decks ever created because it's just super cool to be able to summon out such a classic card that's been retrained into this awesome boss monster. I absolutely love the artwork of Skull Guardian. So that's gonna do for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.